Welcome back to Sprague River Homestead. I'm Nikki.
I'm Kanan.
And today we're doing another Would You Rather Wednesday. And since I always play the lovely Vanna White today,
I get to play the lovely Vincent White today. No?
All right, so here are three topics.
I'm going to choose the middle one here, which is a gas versus a diesel or a propane generator. What is the best and why?
This is going to be a good one because this is going to be one of those few videos that I have no earthly idea about, and Kanan will have a good answer.
All right, so let us get a few minutes to get our thoughts together on which one is going to be best and why, and we'll come back and defend our choice.
All right, so we've had a few minutes, and he's looking confident. We've had a few minutes, and I guess we figured out our arguments here, and we'll let Kanan go first.
Oh, you're going to let me go first. So between the three, I would put it as a few different ways. What is the easiest fuel that you can come by, whether it's gas, diesel, or propane? What is the maintenance on them? And then probably the initial cost of them. Without doing a lot of research, meaning I really have no research to back this up, because in 5 minutes I can't search the internet fast enough. I will tell you, we here have had a diesel generator for the 9 years that we have lived here, or at least Nikki has lived here. Concerning the maintenance of them, it's probably going to be really pretty close. Propane, you typically won't have a fuel stabilizer or a cleaner that you would add in there to make sure the fuel system on it is cleaned out, but the gas and diesel you would. Otherwise, you're going to do oil changes, air filter changes, etc. So I'm going to say there's probably nothing other than maybe the cost between them and the availability of filters that may make you want to pick one or the other. Knowing that we have diesel, we have bought ahead, but things are not like extremely hard to find. Obviously, looking at prices on fuel, gas is probably the cheapest. Diesel is probably next, and propane. Sometimes I think it's kind of mixed between propane and diesel. Propane, I think, is a little bit easier to handle because you can't really spill it. You can turn the nozzle and it sprays out as a gas, but it typically is not going to spill out like if you get, let's say, a 5-gallon thing of diesel or gas without a big tank. You could make either of them run on anything pretty small. So I'm pretty happy with our diesel generator, the way it's set up. Pretty easy to maintain. Gas, I would be okay, other than diesel is a little bit easier to run. So out of those three, I'm going to choose diesel because parts are pretty easy to find still. Diesel is still pretty easy to buy in a gas can if I need to, or you could have a delivery if you have a big tank. And it's pretty easy to maintain otherwise.
Okay, so we have had a diesel generator here for the 9 years. The year before that, I actually used a little gas generator for the house and the big diesel generator to run the wellhead. And I can only speak to my own experiences with stuff, but it always seemed to me that the diesel generator was more fuel efficient. It was much bigger, but it was more fuel efficient, which was kind of nice. And it seems like a lot of the smaller generators tend to be more gas. I see a lot now that are gas, that are dual fuel, that are gas and propane, which we have not had any experience with, so I don't really know. And I've not used a propane generator. My only experience with a propane generator was a few friends that had them in Mississippi that were plumbed actually into the house for whole house backups. That seems to be a big deal in the South where the power goes out like all the time. So that's all I've ever seen them is like whole house. But now I'm seeing a lot more smaller ones. I will say that I always had an easier time getting the diesel generators to start because usually it's the whole, typically you've got to turn, at least with ours, you've got to turn it to a glow for a little bit and then click it over. To me, in my mind, when I go to do it, it's no different than starting the tractor. It's how warm is it? If it's warm enough, a lot of times it'll just start. Otherwise, I need to glow it. Easy peasy. The gas, and I know there's some that are push button, but the gas generator that we had here was a pull start, which gets a little aggravating, especially when the weather is cold. And I always had a lot of trouble getting it to start in the cold. The diesel generator seems to start easier in the cold weather. I don't know if that's typical, but that's just my experience. So for what I know of generators, which is not a whole lot, if the weather is nice and I'm doing little stuff and I need a little generator, a gas is probably going to be the way to go. But if I'm trying to do the whole house, the big diesel generator seems to be the better way to go. I didn't feel like it smoked and put as much exhaust out either. And again, that could just be the models that we had here.
Right. I don't know. We've owned, like Nikki said, the smaller ones typically seem to be more pull start in their gas. You're not going to pull start a diesel under any circumstances because typically they need the plugs to be warm, the glow plugs. Now you've got some of the newer vehicles like the Chevy diesels and etc. that are, you don't glow anymore. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to wait for them to start. They have the ability to immediately just turn the key and go. I don't know that that's available on any commercial generators for diesel, etc. And then the propane, again, we really have had no experience, so I don't want to say that they're great or they're not because I don't have any experience and I really haven't looked them up because we have no need for them.
The one thing that I read, it said that they are not as efficient as diesel. And then I found another article that was arguing that they were. So I don't really know, but the first one that I read was from a more credible source, in my opinion, and it sounded like diesel was more efficient than propane.
Yeah, and who knows, in 10 years, I mean, we may not even be having the generator conversation because there aren't any made anymore.
At the rate we're going?
At the rate we're going,
That's
I don't
true.
know. But I do like, of those three, the gas, diesel, and the propane. I think for a whole home system, you're probably better off with a diesel just because parts are available, the fuel is available. If it's propane, it may be able to be plumbed in with your house so you don't have to worry about too much other than maintenance. Otherwise, gas and diesel, you're going to have some kind of container, whether it's a large, big 50-gallon or 100-gallon tank or a 5-gallon tank. You just put the line in and plumb it in there and run it as needed. But otherwise, for a whole house, I still think diesel is probably the best.
And I totally admit, we do not have a whole lot of generator experience. We pretty much have what we have, and it's worked. We've gone from there. Like, we've not shopped for generators. We pretty much knew what we needed right from the start, and we have what we have. And
yeah, and I've fixed a lot on ours. Other than maintenance, yes, I replaced the alternator on it when it got burned up from a mouse getting in there and chewing of wiring. And otherwise, our little Kubota diesel has been pretty darn reliable, other than small things here and there. So I guess that's it. It sounds like 2 for diesel, 0 for gas, and 0 for propane.
You know what you know.
That's right. So if you guys have any different of opinion, if you like gas over diesel or propane over diesel, leave it down in the comments below. And just make sure whatever your choice is, you have to defend it. Why? Is it maintenance? Is it availability of fuel, cost of the generator, or none of the above? You have to tell us why.
It does help other people who come in and read the comments too. So.
That is true. Somebody may be looking at their first generator and want to know what's the best one, and they really are getting. I'll tell you, I bet if they went on Facebook and answered that question, somebody would come up with a fourth choice that no one ever considers, like donkey power or something.
Well, they got solar generators.
They do have solar generators, so you can throw that in there, but it's not really that reliable. Anyway, make your choice, defend it, and then hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Like the video and share it out because I like to see random people come in and make debates. So that's it for this time. We will see you next Wednesday for another Would You Rather Wednesday.
Happy homesteading.